It's the end of the weekend, but I still wanna turn up. Yeah, I still wanna turn up. All I want is to go again, but you ain't picking your phone up.
Hello. Welcome to Therapy Rebranded, where we're consistently inconsistent.
Ding. A little behind, but
it's really hard to do because of this. Yeah, anyway.
I tried to slowly tell you the hello so that you could cue the music to turn it off. I even paused. You didn't hear that? I thought you'd been practicing.
I'm not stoned either.
I don't know what's going on then.
I don't know, man.
Just losing it.
LOL.
As a person.
Slowly.
So today we're just going to dive straight into sidebar sessions where we read the threads, then read the people. So Rachel, you first.
I never know what AIO is.
Am I overreacting?
Am I overreacting? My boyfriend is mad at my memorial tattoo. In 2020...
Wait, hold on, pause. There's a picture on the screen of the tattoo. It says Daniel 29/10/23. So he also, his death is fresh-ish, I would say.
Sorry.
Fresh to death.
Fresh to death.
There's someone with a dead ex. Fresh to death.
Fresh to death. In 2023, I, 23-year-old female, lost my late boyfriend unexpectedly. It was devastating. He was a huge part of my life as we were childhood best friends and then dated for 3 years. After he passed, I got a meaningful tattoo in his memory. Now, I'm dating someone new recently. Things have been going well overall, and he knew about my late boyfriend, but recently he actually saw the tattoo and took notice to it in proper detail. He got visibly upset. He said it made him feel, quote unquote, disrespected and like I'm not over my ex. He basically implied I should remove or cover it up. I tried to explain that grief and love aren't black and white and that honoring the past doesn't mean I can't be present in a new relationship. But he just kept saying it's, quote unquote, weird and made him feel, quote unquote, second best. Am I overreacting for being hurt by his reaction? Or is it fair that he feels threatened by a piece of my past? I included a pic of when I freshly got it done a year ago.
Also, the other thing about the tattoo that I want to point out is it's on the inside of her wrist. So how long could they have possibly been dating before he saw the inside of her wrist?
That was my immediate thought. You want everybody to see that. But also, it's not cover-upable.
Yeah, how did she cover it up? He just now saw it in person. Does she wear, sweatbands on her wrists?
How long did she say they'd been together?
I don't know. If she got the tattoo a year ago, then less than a year.
Yeah.
What was the question?
Am I overreacting? Am I overreacting to him, to his critique? Am I overreacting for being hurt by his reaction, or is it fair that he feels threatened by a piece of my past?
Do you think it's acceptable for him to feel that way? Basically.
I think it's acceptable for him to share his emotions, but I don't think he should be asking her to do anything about it. So, yes, it's fair that he's saying, this makes me feel second best and you're not over your ex. I think that's fair territory. But then to say you should cover it up or get it removed is too far.
So did she get it while she was with this guy?
No. Can't have been.
No.
No.
The way I read it was that it's just, she got it. Although it does look fresh as hell.
She said, this is a picture of when I got it fresh a year ago.
Got it. Okay.
So you guys are just not compatible. Break up.
Where do you think the line is on that?
The line is to say the feeling, but not to tell her to cover it up. But I also understand how he feels about it. The feeling is valid. I don't know.
See whatever.
If she's at dinner with your mom,
nobody wants to see that.
And she's like, "What? Who's Daniel?"
My ex-boyfriend.
My ex-boyfriend that I was super in love with that died unexpectedly, and I got a tattoo last year to honor him. Maybe you're not in the place to date seriously.
Who I will probably hold a candle for the rest of my life because I'll idealize the situation and I don't know.
I want to name our firstborn son Daniel.
Oh, God.
I think they're taking a macro issue. So they're taking a big issue in their relationship and putting it into a small thing, which is that I think most people, male or female, would have a really hard time competing with a dead ex.
Yeah.
And it's recent. So that's being played out through the tattoo. And what's being played out through the tattoo is that you guys are not on the same page about this. And you're still grieving and in a space where this is probably really upsetting and offensive to you. Just dump them.
It's just a situation you stay out of as a guy. Or woman, probably.
You don't even have to stay out of it.
So everyone knows I have a dead ex. And in my last serious relationship, I was just being asked, he had asked me about basically like how I felt about him at the time he died. And I think the fact that we weren't together and hadn't been together for a couple of years when he died did a lot to soothe those feelings. Because it's not like, oh, you guys were going to spend your lives together and then this got taken. It was like, we already weren't going to. I think it'd be really hard to get over. It's kind of like a widow. Like, I don't know, but women love dating men who have dead wives. So I don't know. Women are different. They're like, oh, he was because it's like, oh, he was a wonderful guy and he didn't even screw up his marriage. His wife just died.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But also there's a certain level of maturity not to feel like you're always going to be second best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. So that's just up to them. But no, nobody's the bad guy per se. Rachel, what would you do if you were her? You got a tattoo of your ex on your
Start
wrist.
a fight. Say something cutting back, you baby bitch. What would I do? Well, I would never get it.
Yeah. You're her. We're just going to transport you into a white woman with a tattoo on her wrist.
I'm a trashy white woman.
Jeez, Rach.
I endorse that.
I mean, we're probably not going to be together. I'm like,
if you're her,
I'm dumping you.
Okay.
Yeah. We're probably gonna like cobble it together for maybe a couple more months, and then it's just not gonna work.
Yeah. Gabe, you're him.
I first of all,
wait, pause. Does she agree? She agrees to, for your scenario, she agrees to wear a thick bracelet every time you guys are in public, but she leaves her wrists open when you guys are at home.
So first of all, I'd be more mortified by the thick bracelet that people think I'm that insecure and controlling. That would bother me way more.
Would it?
But yeah, for
I'm
sure.
just joking.
I could deal, I would make the choice to deal with that or not. And at the end of the day, that would be my thought is you're not ready to date, possibly. And you know, how about this? If you want to help me with this scenario, how did he die? How did the boyfriend die?
Well, unexpectedly. Matter? So we're going to say overdose.
Why does it matter?
I think it matters
a lot.
If it's overdose,
did she murder him?
I'm not with the woman. I hate to say it.
Why?
Because even though
I'm out.
That's
Gabe would never date me. I'm out.
No. I'm saying as a former junkie.
I was like, damn, that has nothing to do with the what? Not secondary dumping.
I hate to say this, but
what if he did coke at a party one time that was laced with fentanyl? It was a freak accident.
Okay, that's different.
Okay,
that's different.
What if she dated
You're basically saying you judge women who would be with someone who's an active user?
No, not that at all. What I'm saying is that you knew this. You know the situation. You know that how he died and all that stuff. What?
Gabe.
No, wait, go ahead.
No. I know her situation. I'm not trying to say it in a shitty way at all. I'm just trying to say that it's like, if, I'm looking at this from the perspective of having kids, right? And I see it as like, okay, if I was dating a woman and I'm a drug addict, she's a drug addict, we're together and she dies, I probably don't get a tattoo of her because it's like emblematic of, maybe it's because it's my shit though.
Yeah, I'm like, why? I don't understand.
Yeah, because the way I see it, you know what? I'm seeing
it
from my perspective too much as a user. So the way I'm seeing it as is like...
That's what I'm saying.
That's something that I left in the past, so you're supposed to leave it in the past, sort of. But that's...
People who overdosed and died?
That you,
that's who you leave in the past?
What I'm saying is I'm connecting it to my use.
Got it. But how? Help the audience understand the connection.
Because I basically automatically assumed that I'd be using with her at that point and that she died. Like, that's just what I
got it.
Went to.
So you as somebody...
So it's like I'm memorializing a shitty time of my life.
Got it.
And it's like that wasn't a useful, healthy relationship and I'm living and stewing in it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, you can still love that person and not get a tattoo on your wrist where everyone can see it.
Does it change that she grew up with him, like that they were childhood friends?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's part of the story. If you didn't have children, is this too embarrassing for you?
It's still embarrassing.
Yeah.
It's just embarrassing. I think that's really what it is. It's like,
it is embarrassing.
It seems like weak, like mentally weak in a way to me, in a weird way. It's tough for me to say that.
You never thought you were going to get over him?
Well, it's also giving like, I want the attention from the tattoo and I want people to ask me about it.
A little bit.
I want to be a sad baby. I want to talk about it, and I'm never going to get over it. Like, that's how I see it. I see it as like a weak, like it's a weak person thing. That's ugly to say. I'm sorry.
Yeah. If I was her, I would not be with this guy because clearly this loss is a huge part of her identity right now. And so it's not going to work out. It's not. If I was her, I wouldn't. If I was her, I wouldn't be with anybody. I could be overestimating how young she is by the nails in the photo, but I'm going to guess that she's under 30. You got some time to just be alone and figure it out.
Probably.
I'm just going to guess that. Oh no, what did she say her age? 23?
Yeah.
Oh girl, stop it. Stop it.
Time to go.
All right, on to the next one. Break up.
Okay. I got fired. So today I got fired because I didn't go in enough. Well, there you go. There was always something that I couldn't go in, which is a lie. I've been struggling with depression,
self-harm and suicidal tendencies.
Sorry, I've never seen that shorthand. Self-harm and suicidal tendencies and severe anxiety since I was a kid. That's why I couldn't even finish school. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to blame anyone else for it. I know it's my fault, but my dad doesn't know any of this. My self-harm and all that. He knew I have anxiety, but he always just say to toughen up and stop it. I lied to him, my now ex-boss, and I got fired. But I didn't tell my dad. I couldn't. He was so happy, and I don't want to ruin his happiness with my bullshit again. So if anyone has anything on how to approach it, and that would really help me. By the way, after I got the text from my now ex-boss, I started searching for jobs immediately again. So maybe I could say that, but I really don't want to disappoint him. I just have an image of somebody in my head.
Are they 27?
They are. Is that why you picked this?
No. I picked this because even though it was written horribly and it wasn't very interesting, I think there's two topics that are super interesting in it. So the first topic that I feel like is interesting is the like depression, self-harm, and suicidal tendencies leading to them not going to this job. And then the second part that's interesting is like, how do they think they're going to get away with this lie with their dad? So do you have clients who struggle to go to work because of their depression?
I was actually just thinking about somebody I just met with yesterday who is chronically like in and out of the hospital and can't hold down a job because of their suicidal attempts and ideation. And they pretty much are kind of at the end. Everybody's kind of at the end of the rope with them. They don't know what to do. Yeah.
It's a really big issue that I encounter in the hospital, which is that people are chronically mentally ill. And it's like, okay, the first time you tried to kill yourself, everyone showed up. The second time you tried to kill yourself, a couple people showed up. Mm-hmm. The third time you tried to kill yourself, it was just your parents. The fourth time you tried to kill yourself, now your parents aren't coming to the hospital.
What if it's 14 times?
I'm just like naming random stuff. But there seems to be like an amount of empathy that just straight up runs out. Like people are tired of dealing with your mental illness and see it as self-inflicted at a certain point. So I thought this was interesting because they're kind of doing the whole like, oh, I know it's my fault. But at the same time, like they're not wanting to take accountability. So it's like, do you really think I don't know. It's kind of confusing.
Well, and that's the hard part. I actually just watched a video on this about how to hold people accountable who do deal with like chronic mental illness. And it's pretty much what you would think it is. It's, try and hold them accountable to the things that you can and bring in their mental illness piece and like trying to decide like what pieces are harmful and not, and if they take accountability or not. And so when somebody doesn't...
But what does that even mean?
Exactly. That was my question at the end of the thing is...
Like that just sounds like psychobabble mumble.
That's what I'm saying is like, what does it mean to like hold somebody accountable or not? And who am I to decide like what is holding somebody accountable or not? So with somebody who has chronic like suicidal ideation or just can't, they just can't keep it together.
Mm-hmm. It's really hard to watch people sit down in the hospital too and like make all these grandiose promises about how they're not going to be mentally ill anymore when they leave because of the insights they had over that weekend. And that's never actually...
Wow.
Right.
That's crazy.
No, it happens.
It happens all the time.
Right.
Because also like they're often in a family system who's reinforcing like your mental illness is your choice. And so then they come to the hospital and they get all this extra support and they like have less mental illness symptoms while they're in the hospital.
Because they're getting support.
Not only because they're getting support, but because they're not having to engage in real world stress.
Yes.
You're not going to school.
Yes.
You're not in your abusive home. Like you get 3 meals a day.
Right.
You don't have social media, so you like don't get to engage in peer drama. Like you're just like in a different space. It's like a very controlled environment that does not mimic the real world.
Right.
And then they are like, oh, wow, my family was right. This was a choice. Great. So when I leave, I'm going to make different choices. And they go back to their environment and they can't because they don't have the tools to deal with the stress. And this is just like a repetitive thing. So I hear this person saying like, how am I going to tell my dad? And it's like, he probably has a really okay dad. I wouldn't say he's like the best dad based on the way this was written, but he probably has a dad who's invested in him. And it's like, how do I tell my dad for the 18th time that I just couldn't get out of bed to go to work? Mm-hmm. Gabe, if this is your kid, what are you doing?
Oh my God, don't ask me that. That is so stressful. Because for me that like I actually relate to the not wanting to tell your parents your most recent failure. Mm-hmm. Right. And it's one of the qualities in myself that I am most ashamed of and don't like is that impulse to not face just because it feels pointless. Right. Mm-hmm. Like, I already know what the reaction is. Mm-hmm. I already know it's just fruitless. Like it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. So I don't know.
It's not fruitless though. When I think like as an adult, it's kind of like the older you get, the less it matters because you can have a whole, full, authentic life and your parents don't have to be involved in it.
I think it's more fruitful now. Yeah. Like just because it's like, just own it and stand on it and it's fine. Yeah. Right. Like, it's just a stupid impulse. But what I'm saying is there's a weird thing in parenting, I feel, that when your kids demonstrate things that you struggled with or things that you didn't do well, you feel a little hypocritical getting on them hard about it. And, you want to talk and teach and go through it, but I don't know how I'd approach this yet. I don't think.
And parents come to me all the time with this. They're like, this kid doesn't want to go to school every day because they're depressed and they want to kill themselves and whatever the thing is. But also, like, if I don't let them go to school, I'm failing them. Mm-hmm. Like, if I allow them to not engage in society and get the skills they need to go to school, they're not going to be able to be a functional adult. If they can't make it through school, they're not going to be able to make it through life.
Right.
But if I force them to go to school, they're like, you don't care that I'm mentally ill.
And it feels like such a binary, like it's an either or decision.
Mm-hmm. And the way I reframe it, and reframing is like taking the same information and looking at it from a different perspective. The way I would reframe it is like, you guys both have the same goal. You just have different ways you want to go about it. You both want this kid to feel better or feel good in the moment. And you think that them conquering their fears around school and being successful is what's going to make them better. And the kid thinks that like rest and avoidance is what's going to make them better. And like you guys actually are fighting, you want the same thing. You just have like a different route to get there. Mm-hmm. So how do we like compromise on that? Mm-hmm. But there's just some kids who will not engage in life. And then we have to start doing like tactics to make them engage in life, which is not fun and really hard to do because like parents don't want to have the battle every day. And you do have to have the battle every day.
What do you do for a kid who's maybe like 18 or 19 or 20 and isn't like in your house?
Well, if they act like this, they are living in your house. Fair. They live off of you, so you still have power.
Fair.
That's the conversations I love to have with the young adults when I work with them is like, I'll working maybe with someone who's like 18, they just turned 18 and whatever is like, yeah, you're legally an adult, but you can't pay for your lifestyle, so you're dependent on them. Mm-hmm. So like you do have to compromise. Mm-hmm. You're not like a real adult, and so you can take care of yourself financially.
Yep.
If you have children who demonstrate anxiety at age 7, age 8, age 9, that's modeled from the parents, right?
Not always.
Not always. Okay. Because, to me, the hardest thing
how to cope with the anxiety is usually modeled by the parents. And anxiety is usually genetic. So one parent probably has it and copes with it in a certain way. And that's how the kids try to cope with it. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
But you're not going to develop anxiety from seeing your parents be anxious. You might develop anxiety over them being anxious over you.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like fretting over you. Like worried about you, worried about life, worried about those kinds of things.
Getting you riled up.
Getting you riled up. But
I think things like, to me, I sort of like mindset comes to mind, whatever with this. Mm-hmm. And that's something that when you hear your kids have any negative like that, like, well, I'm not good at sports or things like that, that's always, it's very hard for me to hear. And I talk to them about mindset a lot, but you have to do it in a way where you're not annoying the shit out of them and going to repulse them. So, yeah.
And you also have to do it in a way where you're not basically telling them, if you were just positive, you wouldn't feel like this, because that's not true.
It's true.
You also don't want to reinforce the notion that if their mindset was better, they wouldn't feel like this. No, you would still feel like this, but here's how to shift your mindset to deal with this long term. Because what can happen is you can shame them.
Explain why that, because to me, mindset does change how you feel about like there is perspective and shift that changes things.
Right, but mindset is like learned and ingrained. So
Yes.
like when it's like you're not really changing your kid's mindset right now. You're telling them like how to talk to themselves.
You're trying to put them on the road.
You put them on the road, right? And so you don't want them to misconstrue that there is a road. Like you don't want them to think that like if I change my mindset right this second, I'm going to immediately feel better.
Oh, okay, yeah. No,
People think that it's going to be an immediate.
But that's like that.
Like
Parents
parents
forget to explain that part.
Okay.
And adults come in thinking, well, it's not working. And I have to say, well, it doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah. Like they forget to explain that part of like, well, don't say that to yourself because X, Y, and Z. And then the kid thinks like, oh, if I stop talking to myself negatively, I'm not going to feel these worries. And that's not true. And then they start to feel like something's wrong with them.
Right. They're like, I'm not doing it
because the strategy's not working.
Right.
So just being like mindful of letting them know like it's not an immediate thing and you're still going to feel the feelings.
Do you
People
guys
want to do anything to avoid the feelings.
Do you guys look at your, like, if I look back on my life, if there's any regret, it's just, basically like regretting that I thought certain things were scary or that I had fears, when I was young that held me back.
Yeah.
Is that like, how would you parent something like that in your mind? Because that's another thing that I try to, which I try to do through storytelling and examples of my life, for instance, to kids. But
like, how do you teach them not to be risk averse?
Yeah.
I think you can demonstrate yourself taking risks and being fine no matter how it works out and helping them do that in small ways.
Yeah. And like celebrating the process rather than the result and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
And just also like encouraging them to put themselves in tough positions and helping them through it. Like don't be the parent who you have so much secondhand embarrassment or so much stress watching them be stressed that they don't get to fail.
Oh, yeah.
You got to let them fail a bunch.
We celebrate failure in the house for real.
Yeah, you got to fail a bunch.
Yeah,
of
like
times.
that's part of the process.
Yeah.
For sure.
So those are all the things. And then the second thing is, you're not going to be able to hide this from your dad. And if you think that finding a job first would soften the blow, then I don't know your dad, but I know that every day you don't tell him, it's a bigger lie.
That's me though. Like, I mean, I can relate to that from my younger days for sure.
For sure. Like, oh, I just have to do it with, I totally get the logic of like, well, if I solve the problem before I tell them about the problem, they won't have the same reaction.
Yes.
I don't have to deal with all their worry and anger. I can just diffuse them by being like, but it's already resolved.
Yes.
It's already resolved. But you're missing the part of like, but you lied to my face. Like, for instance, if you live with him, are you getting up and fake going to work? Because that's fucked up.
Right.
Or do you not live together and you're just not telling him? And in that regard, it's like, fine, whatever. You know what I mean?
But
like, I don't know your home situation.
It still does have damage, or it still damages the relationship, I think, though.
It does damage the relationship, but I don't think to the extent of committing to the lie like that. Getting up and fake going to work is a commitment.
Yeah.
It does damage no matter what, but I think, I don't know. It just depends. It depends. All right. Am I the asshole for canceling my financial support for my son's wedding after his fiancée catfished him to, quote, test his loyalty? What? My 23-year-old son got engaged a few months ago. Cancel the wedding now. 23? Yeah. Cancel the wedding now. Recently, he admitted to me that he had been texting with a girl he met on Tinder. That alone already shocked me. He's engaged, and that obviously is not acceptable behavior. But here's the twist. The girl on Tinder was actually his fiancée. She made a fake account to test whether he would stay loyal, and when he flirted back, she confronted him. Yes, what my son did was messed up, but creating a whole fake profile to trap your partner, that's manipulation. If you have to run sting operations to trust your fiancé, maybe you shouldn't be getting married. The first lick of sense you said this whole thing is if you have to run sting operations to trust your fiancé, maybe you shouldn't be married. Your son is not marriage material.
I got the sense that she hates this fiancé since before this. She was preying on their downfall.
After learning this, I told my son I wouldn't be paying for the wedding anymore. And also that's a power move, so they can't get married. Okay. I don't want to support a marriage that already starts with lies and games from both sides. Some people in the family say I'm overreacting and punishing both of them. What's your opinion? What's our opinion, guys?
I feel like my opinion is that she's correct. They should not be getting married. I also feel like...
But her reasons are
Why are you saying she?
Because it's the mom?
It's got to be a mom.
No, it's the dad. They've got money.
I think only a mom gives a fuck this much. I'm going to be honest.
I read it as a mom, too.
I read it as mom. I
A
definitely...
man did not write this.
A man did not write this.
This is a man's dialect.
I didn't even think about it. I
A son
literally
would not confess to his mom that
Yes, he
he's
would.
flirting with another girl.
Yes, he would.
Yes,
he had to confess because that's how he got caught.
Right.
That's how he told her the story. He didn't tell her that because they go together. She didn't know her son was a cheater, or she did, but he didn't confess that until he got trapped. He had to tell her that he was flirting with another girl, because how else do you tell her he got trapped?
She is right that they should not be getting married. There's something about it that just like has a little simmer of like misogyny to it.
It's gross.
That she's like more mad that he got catfished and that he was cheating, and that yes, they shouldn't be together, but the fiance clearly had some type of shit.
She knew your son was a cheater.
She knew your son was a cheater.
Listen, like either way, that parent has a right not to pay. Like if you see a shit wedding coming down the pike, you have the right to go, hey, sorry, I love you, but I'm not.
I actually kind of agree.
I disagree.
What, you have to pay for a shitty wedding?
You don't have to pay for a shitty wedding. So I'm somebody who didn't come from a family that would pay for your wedding anyways. Nobody has the money to drop whatever to pay for your wedding. So if you're getting money, it's like for a house. You're not getting it for a wedding. So this is from an outside perspective. So someone whose family's actually going to pay for the wedding can maybe say what she thinks after. But I think that if you agreed to pay for this wedding, and to take it back is a weird power move. You already agreed for your 23-year-old son to get married to someone you don't like. That was very clear that you knew all those things going into it. You agreed for your 23-year-old son to get married to somebody you don't like. And now because you don't like, it feels like a power move though. It feels like I have to approve of your decision making to give you this money.
If you watch your kid's fiance walk out of some guy's like house or car in the morning where like you realize she was fucking him or whatever.
But that's not what's happening. But
it's the next step.
I
I'm too old not to go like, look, you can tell that's a doomed marriage. That's doomed marriage.
It is a doomed marriage.
Mm-hmm.
There is something, I get the point of like they're adults. You're offering to pay for the marriage regardless. It's not your job to judge the quality of the marriage for when they want to get married. I do get that. When
you already prejudged and agreed.
Yes.
And then took it back. From a family therapy perspective, right? So as the family therapist in the room, you just demonstrated that you are not trustworthy.
No, she's not trustworthy.
You just demonstrated as a mom that you're not trustworthy. Because I came to you and I bared my soul to you about what's going on. I showed my humiliation and the way I was humiliated, and your response is a power move. That's a power move. To be like, hey, can I trust you or not? Can I tell you or not? And I'm 23 and you thought I was mature enough to get married.
Yes, all of that.
Like, for me personally, I wouldn't, this is also where I'm coming from a different perspective. I would never agree to pay for my son's wedding.
Yes, totally.
So I'm coming from a different perspective.
Well, that's
anyways.
what I thought is that normally they pay for the daughter's wedding.
Not even that. I'm not paying for my kid's wedding. Sorry. Yeah. I'm not paying for my kid's wedding. That is a choice that you want to make. I'll even pay for your fucking honeymoon as a gift. Go on a great honeymoon. I'm not paying for your wedding. I'm not. I don't think they matter. I don't think nice weddings matter.
I also wouldn't want my family to put in all the money in it because I want to be able to make decisions. And when people pay for things, you just don't get to make. That's just how it goes. You don't get to make the decisions you want to make.
Clearly, you don't even get to have the marriage if that's what they decide.
I do think there's something to, if you know, like, this isn't the case. This is extreme. If somebody's whooping your child's ass or they're getting domestic,
that's not what's happening.
It's not what's happening. But like, if they're
cheating on each other.
But if you know that it's doomed,
it's a doom.
Why do I have to pay for it?
Okay. Was it not doomed from when they were 23?
It is, but maybe she didn't have proof.
New information comes to light.
I feel like she agreed to do something she already didn't feel good about, and she used this as an out.
Fair.
Maybe.
And I think it's gross.
It is gross.
But now you have facts before you.
Right. I think it's gross.
It is gross.
I do.
She's being manipulative. She's being controlling.
I agree.
It's financial abuse. I don't think
it's abuse.
The family that
it's not abuse.
It is.
By the way,
I think it is because you're literally, technically.
But you don't really think it is in your heart, because if you did, you wouldn't be supporting it because you're anti-abuse. So you don't really think that.
I mean, it is though. I'm just being a little.
It's just an ugly situation
I'm
in
just
all
being kind
directions.
of fucked up about it. I do think like she has the like. I think she kind of doesn't have to pay for it.
Well, that's not abuse.
No,
It's
Rachel's
not a
just
needed
cool with
thing.
abuse.
I feel like it'd still be abuse.
Why is it abuse? They don't. I
It's
feel
the
like
lesser abuse.
I don't
It's
feel
like
like
a small A abuse.
I don't find it abusive because I don't feel like this is a requirement.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like what
agree
would
with that,
feel
actually, now that you say
abusive.
that.
What would feel abusive to me is her being like, if you and your fiance do X, Y, and Z, then I'll pay for it, and you guys have to do all of these things and prove it to me. She didn't do that. She just took a stand and said, "I don't think you should get married. I'm not paying for it."
Is that not normal?
No, it's not normal.
Yeah, that isn't normal. I get it, and it is like I feel it in my stomach. Like I'm like I know it's fucked up, but I'm like, she kind of. Would you like? You said you wouldn't pay for it, right? But put yourself in the shoes just for a second.
Yeah.
You're saying that if you found out you're
literally the theme of my conversations, and I know it's my brother, right? I know it's a sibling. I have a 15-year-old sibling. I know it's not the same as when it's with your kid. I know because I don't feel responsible for how he turns out. I don't have that pressure, the day-to-day, whatever. That being said,
responsible for how he turns out.
I do not.
Not at all?
No. It's not my job. I love him and care for him, but like I think it's an overstep to be like how he turns out is dependent on me. Come on now. Get out of your ass.
No, not dependent on you, but just that you care how he turns out.
I think wanting him to turn out well and feeling responsible for him are not the same thing.
Okay.
Of course I want him.
Yeah.
I want you to turn out well. I don't feel responsible for you.
Fair.
Like that's not I think it's a parent thing. But that being said, I always tell him when I think he's wrong and I let him make the wrong choice.
Yeah.
I literally am like, well, I think that this is wrong, but I mean, that's your call. Like, I don't, and I mean it.
That's fair.
So if I agreed to pay for this wedding, I would say to him, I do not think you guys should get married. I think this is a bad idea. And if you still want to go ahead with it, that's okay.
It's kind of like when people ask for
because
like
that's real safety and that's real support and that's real all of the things. And also like if she doesn't pay for this wedding, does he still get the money? Can he put it into something else? It doesn't seem like it.
That's true because some people are like, with family heirlooms, like, oh, like I'm not going to give you the ring if you marry this person. And that's kind of like,
is it mine or not?
Yeah. No, that's fair.
Is it mine or not?
No, that's true.
Like, yeah.
You're doing this because you love me, because you just want because
you don't let her bully your back, you, Rachel.
It's true when I thought about it because, I think about it in terms of like, if I think about
your
it
own
as like
family
a thing and like a ring or something like that. And it would be like.
In your own family, that's how it would go down though, right?
How about this? What's the healthy play off that is obviously a conversation, right?
Well, what she just said is the healthy version.
Yeah. The like, I don't approve, but
I was adjusting lights. Sorry.
Yeah. And it's true because a lot of parents, it's true. And even it's like, well, I need to have control over the situation. I need to own the situation. It needs to be what I want. And it's not about that. It's not need to be the safe decision would be, I will do this for you because I love you. And this is your decision and I'm here to support your decisions. And
maybe you say something like, if you ever get married, this is the only wedding I'm ever paying for.
Yeah. I'm not doing this every time.
I'm not doing this again. This is the only one I'm ever paying for. I don't think this is a good decision. I think you guys should get a prenup, even though that probably wouldn't hold up in half the states in the country. Whatever the thing is that you share is like the advice you think. I guarantee you someone's going to hear you in a different way if you're not giving them like an ultimatum or like this hard choice. And I mean, so like, I think that's the other issue is like
what do you say to parents?
Making the choice for him. He has a 23-year-old man is never going to feel empowered to be like, I left this woman who I had a toxic relationship with. Now the story is my mom wouldn't pay for the wedding, so we broke up. That is not like a confidence building story.
In any way.
And I would hope if you agree to pay for the wedding, it's because you have the excess money to, and you're not breaking your back over it.
What do you say to the couple in couples therapy who's fighting about this? It's the wife who they're fighting over this money. The dad wants to still pay for the wedding, and the wife doesn't want to pay for it, and they're squabbling over it. How do you help them like come to a thing about this?
I mean, I think the reality of the situation is if you guys are going to pay for something as expensive as a wedding, both parents have to be on board.
Yeah.
But you can be transparent with your 23-year-old son. Like, I think you should at least allow him, and dad to all sit down and talk about it.
Wow. So you mean the answer is open communication and honesty?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. It's a hard thing to do. I know.
It is hard.
It's really hard to be honest, and it's really hard to be honest in a genuine way, in a way of like, I think when I was younger, I used to start from the outcome I wanted and then decide what I was going to say. Like, this is what I want to happen. I want this friendship to remain, or I want me and this boyfriend to get over this thing. And so that I'm going to choose what I say based on what I want to happen. And now I'm saying what I feel is true, and I don't care what happens. Like, I'm not going to do the backwards. And so, like, the damage that this is going to do to your parent-child relationship probably isn't worth it. That's my opinion. Because if they do end up getting married, now you have a son in a toxic relationship who's disconnected from you and probably not going to rely on you when things get bad.
Because you're distrustful.
He doesn't trust you.
Yeah.
Because when he comes to you, he loses things. When he's
Yeah.
honest, he loses things.
Yeah.
So, it's my...
Wow, I've never heard that put
Children
that
of all
way.
ages.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I always say they can't handle the truth. Like, they can't deal with the truth, so you can't tell them the truth.
Yeah. That's what I say to parents all the time, because, like, you know, these kids come to the hospital, they're honest about their suicidal ideation, and their parents want to take everything from them that they could use to harm themselves, which ends up being the things that they use for comfort. Like, parents will do shit like, well, I took your TV out of your room because there's a cord on the TV. You know, shit like that. Took your phone because I think social media is making you unwell. And I tell parents, I said, all you're doing is teaching them that when they're honest with you, they lose things.
Yeah.
When they're honest with you, they don't have freedom.
Yep.
When they're honest with you, you're going...
There's consequences.
There's consequences to being honest, so why do it? And, you know, the other thing is I have to tell parents, because parents will be like, they're suicidal. And I'll be like, yep. And guess what? They were suicidal for 2 years and kept themselves safe before they ever told anybody. Ooh. You're late to the party. They've been doing just fine. Like, they've asked for help when they needed help.
Yep.
You're the one who's catching up. Now they have to change their whole life because you came into the fold.
Yep. That's
not teaching them that you're going to be somebody they should talk to.
Yep.
And parents always love to be like, I can't believe you didn't tell me. Like, it's personal. It's like, instead of attacking them, why don't you be curious about what you're doing that would make them think they can't tell you? And you don't even have to be a bad parent. You can be a good parent and still have your kid afraid to tell you that they're suicidal. That's a scary thing to say to your parent.
Yep.
But you're proving right now that they shouldn't have told you.
Every time.
So that's like, if you want the long-term relationship to be authentic, then it's let him be a person and do what you said you were going to do, regardless if you like his decisions. And if you want to be like everybody else and just be like, it's my money, it's my choice, then okay. And he'll probably think really hard next time he accepts your money, because now he knows you'll fuck him at any chance.
Yep.
So, next one.
Wrong way. Let's see. For the listeners at home, a couple of my nudes showed up on screen.
Yeah.
No.
It's browner than I thought it'd be.
Why is it so small?
That was funny.
Are those your balls or your dick?
I take that back for the audience at home. Yeah. Anyway.
Those your tits?
Gabe does have a good upper body. Do you work out?
I do, but not enough.
Not saying you have bad legs. You have regular legs. You always wear jeans, so I don't really know. I've never seen a calf.
Yeah, you'll never see me in shorts.
I've never seen a calf.
And by the way,
I need to see a calf right now.
Fine. I just think that men in shorts look like sixth graders, like blown up sixth graders. I don't know why. It looks funny to me.
There's some shorts you can style.
Yeah.
Cargo shorts are nice.
Yeah, I wear cargo shorts every now and then if I wear them, but it has to be
when
like
you go
90.
fishing, you don't wear shorts?
I mean, once it gets above 90s, then I will. Yeah. But in the 80s, I'm wearing pants, like light pants.
All right, what are we reading next? Do I tell my
pregnant friend her boyfriend is cheating? Yes!
Ooh.
You don't know yet. I don't know. I can't believe you said yes so loud.
You seem a little unhinged, Rachel.
She is unhinged.
I'm joking.
You can't see me, but I just let my tits go crazy.
Her best friend got single. Her best friend got single. She's losing her mind.
I'm like, be empathetic, but also excited. Be empathetic, but also excited. It's that fluctuation constantly.
Everyone's excited. It's okay. You don't have to pretend to be sad.
I'm not. I mean, I am sad for you. Anyway, she and I are both 15. What? Okay, never mind. My chain.
Wait, do I tell my pregnant friend her boyfriend is cheating? Go.
She and I are both 15, and her boyfriend, the baby's dad, is 17. We're in group pregnancy counseling at my school together. Of
Period.
course. Shut up. We're not super close, but we hang out sometimes when we went to each other's baby showers, but we're not that close. We know all each other's business, but we're not that close. We're both having baby boys in July.
That's actually very 15.
It is very 15. We're both having baby boys in July, so we mostly talk about parenting and sometimes school gossip. Very 15. My best friend and I were at the mall last week and we saw her boyfriend kissing one of her friends. He saw us and texted my best friend begging him not to tell her because he didn't want to stress her out during the pregnancy. He responded saying that he didn't know yet whether he would tell her or not, but that we weren't going to protect him. I've been thinking about it and talking to my best friend, and neither of us can decide whether or not to tell her. We don't want to stress her out more than she already is, but she has a right to know. We talked about telling her older sister so she could tell her because it would sound better coming from someone closer, but I don't know if that's a good idea. I feel so bad for her and I don't know what to do. Her being 15 definitely changes it. I
wish he wouldn't have wrote them confirming that he got caught cheating, because then I would say just pretend you don't know. But now you have a secret with her shitty boyfriend. That's the issue, is you have a secret with her shit boyfriend.
I'm not
if
mad
he
at you telling
didn't,
her older sister.
You think that's the move?
I'm not mad at you telling a parent or older sister because I feel like they should know that he's just not like. I agree that she's 15. It's just like maybe too much. She's not going to be able to see through it. She's not going to leave him at 15, like whatever. But maybe it's on other people to maybe.
I think that's the backbone of this question is like, if you know somebody is trapped in a relationship, and trapped in quotes, but trapped in a relationship and not going to leave, should you tell them they're being cheated on? If you know it's not going to make them leave, should you tell them they're being cheated on? Do they deserve to know?
Can we put this episode behind a paywall?
Sure.
I'm joking.
Done. I will go find Patreon again.
I'm joking. It is kind of the age of like the century. I have two.
The age of the century?
The question of the century.
The age of the century.
I feel like
Rachel
I have two. It's my hypothesis. I have two answers for this.
Okay. Say the good friend answer and then the real answer.
Okay. My good friend answer is no, you don't tell them. You let them ride it out and you support them. I feel like I might be flipping those, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the good friend answer is like,
don't stress her out because you know she's not going to leave.
And yeah, you know she's not going to leave. She doesn't have it. You're being empathetic, and it just is what it is, man. Most people don't leave shitty partners.
Okay. The other answer.
The actual good friend answer, like the answer that you want your fucking bestie to say to you is, bitch, he's never going to change. Even if you just like.
So you tell her.
Yes. The real answer is you tell her and support her through the fucking turmoil, and you tell her, yeah, it's not fucking easy, but is this really it? And you have those conversations a fuck ton, and you just buckle in and just get her through it. But most people don't do that, especially when they have kids.
I think the trouble is that other people will never perceive you as trapped in a relationship. Or like, you know, even if they know intuitively, they're going to view you with disgust as like,
what do you mean?
He thinks he's trapped or she thinks she's trapped, but she's not. Like you can go. I'm saying like people look upon your relationship with an unsympathetic eye.
Yes.
And they think stuff is really simple. And it's like,
no,
you know, and it is in a way, but it's also not. So
logically, it's simple.
Right.
Logically, it's simple. It never feels that simple.
So if I was in this situation, I would tell because I don't want to have a secret with a boyfriend. If the boyfriend did not see me and text me, I would not have told her. I would pretend I didn't know. That's the truth.
Really?
Yeah.
Does age have to do with it?
I would tell without question. Like that's like, would you want someone to not tell you?
I think I would tell without question just because I also like.
I think if I was describing them.
Oh, you just can't keep a secret.
I think if I was describing them as not a close friend and we're both 15 at school together.
Oh,
no.
yeah, that's true.
I like literally would have to be in my.
I'm sorry.
Forgot that part.
You would literally have to be in my.
I forgot.
Yeah.
You literally have to be in my inner circle for me to feel like obligated. Like you'd have to be someone where I would feel guilt and shame about keeping a secret like that from you.
Oh, yeah. No, never mind. I wouldn't tell
lost
some
the thread
motherfucker I barely know.
Yeah, somebody who's just an acquaintance or just in a support group, I'm probably not telling.
No.
Yeah, no.
Unless I didn't like the person, then I'd tell them to like.
But the boyfriend, but I would probably tell them. I would tell them because the boyfriend texting you is proof. You kind of it was he said she said until he texts you.
Yes.
So I would tell her, and I would show her the
proof.
screenshots.
Yeah. Otherwise, you might end up being like, you're one of his bitches or whatever. And
I
like,
literally lost best friends over telling them they got cheated on. I'm not kidding.
I have two.
Like in my
Wow.
my late teenage years, early 20s, late teens, early 20s. Yep, I've lost friends over it.
I did in high school.
And I had like a friend basically be like, "It's okay. I know you're being manipulated too," but then treated me differently afterwards. And I'm like, I'm not. I sent her a screenshot. She was like, "No." I was like, "Okay."
That
now
happened to
you're
me with a friend.
fabricating screenshots. Right?
It wasn't fabricating screenshots. It was like the screenshot, like that's not actually his number or whatever the thing is. But it wasn't a number showed, it was a name. And she just was like, she was basically being like, I'm not going to cop to this. And I was just kind of like, okay, and I don't want you to. But then we just could never recover. She just could never like get over the weird feeling that she felt in her heart that I was judging her for being with this guy. And I was.
Bitches are weird.
The TV's about to turn off.
Can't be
Okay.
friends with that.
Is this one yours or mine?
Yours?
Okay.
I did all mine.
Did you?
Uh-huh.
Okay. But yeah. So, you know, it all depends. It all depends. Oh yeah, this is mine. Am I the asshole for only fostering my niece and not her younger brother, knowing he'll likely end up in a group home?
Yes.
I, 32 female,
Yes.
have always been pretty independent. I live alone. I never wanted kids of my own, and I've spent the last few years building a stable career as a remote editor and part-time college writing coach. I have a calm lifestyle and love it that way. My younger cousin, Tessa, 29 female, has 2 kids, Lily, 13, and Max, 10. Tessa and I were never especially close, but have always cared about her kids. Lily is quiet, artistic, and a bit introverted. Max, on the other hand, has severe behavioral challenges stemming from early developmental trauma and neurological issues. He requires constant supervision, specialized therapy, and has had several instances of aggression, both at home and in public. Tessa's situation has been falling apart over the last year. She's now a single mom working 2 jobs and clearly overwhelmed. Max has been expelled from his second school this year, and there was a recent incident involving broken glass that led to injuries. Child Services got involved and determined that both kids were in an unstable environment. Lily due to neglect and Max due to escalating safety concerns. That's when CPS reached out to me. I'm the only family member nearby with stable housing, no criminal record, and a flexible work schedule. They asked if I could take in both kids. The truth is I can't. I've spoken with Max's care team. They were honest with me. His care needs are intensive. He needs a controlled environment, tailored educational support, and staff trained in crisis intervention. I don't have the training space or emotional bandwidth to handle the level of care. Even short visits in the past were hard. Max once broke a lamp, screamed for hours, and Lily locked herself in the bathroom crying. On the other hand, Lily wants to stay with me. In just a few days, she's been laughing again. She has her own space, a stock fridge, quiet time, and she's already pulled out her old sketchbooks. When I asked how she was doing, she burst into tears and asked me not to make her go back or live with Max. The mention of his name made her visibly anxious. I think there's more going on than I ever knew. Tessa is furious. She says I'm tearing her family apart, and that if I don't take Max, he'll be moved to a residential care center 2 hours away. She says she'll probably lose custody of both kids. The guilt is real, but I know I can only provide a safe and stable home for Lily, not both. So now I'm asking here, am I the asshole for only taking Lily, knowing Max will likely end up in a long-term case, or is it okay to admit my limits?
Ooh, that's hard.
You said she was the asshole off bat, and then I read this and you got your ass handed to you.
I mean, what if she is an asshole and it's reality? What if it's like she's yo, you should splitting up siblings is fucked, bro. Like saying you only have capacity for the easier one. Maybe that is some asshole shit, but also maybe you're doing a disservice to both of them, taking both on. I don't know.
Gabe,
what do you do?
Gabe, what do you do? I want to know what the
I
non-therapist
do
says
exactly
first.
what the fuck this lady did. Look, man, that kid's a problem. Especially hearing that it is possibly that the kid is scared of, my impulse when I heard it was that's totally fucked up. But it's when you read the details, it's no way, that's a really rational situation. And what, you want her to go?
I think the question is, would it be better for them to stay together in a group home, or for
Right? No, I don't think that.
them to be separated and her to go with her?
I think what happened is what should have happened, unfortunately. And I think it's super unfortunate and profoundly messed up, but that's,
Yeah, I think so. My opinion, this is literally what I do for a living. These are the kind of cases I deal with. And that my opinion is that if you tried to take him on over guilt or shame and you told him he was going to be in your home and it was going to be a new permanent home, when you weren't able to meet his needs, which you wouldn't have been able to, it would have caused more harm to remove him from your home after a couple of years.
You gave the therapist answer too.
What do you mean?
You said don't give the therapist. No, I'm just.
That's how I really feel. I think
Yeah.
because I think she'd end up getting rid of him.
I
Yes.
have.
So if she'd it would cause more harm to give him this false hope. I
Yes.
think the decision is this kid better off? Are these kids better off together or separated? And unfortunately,
That's
it's
not the
sounding
question.
like Lily wants to be separated.
Right.
I mean, this is the question. Because if she doesn't take him, they'll go together.
Yeah.
I mean, what else is the question? That's the only value of them staying together. Because she's not responsible for either of them. She's not responsible for either of them. So it's just, does she want to raise these two children? And she's saying, I cannot raise Max.
Yeah.
So the question is whether or not she thinks Lily would be better off in a group home with Max or with her.
She's better off with her. But what if she's asking, am I the asshole? You have to be an asshole and that.
She's not an
Fine.
asshole for this. Why is she an asshole?
I just mean like it is like an asshole thing to do that, but it's also like it's also
To
reality.
do what?
It's just cold. It's
Yeah.
not an asshole. Like
Yeah, it's like-
an
It's
asshole.
not cold. Max's care team, which I would be in this scenario part of Max's care team, told her without telling her that you can't handle it. He'd be better off in a group home. That's what I just read.
When I
What if
say
that's still
cold, I
okay to
mean
be
it's
cold,
like
though?
a
It just
coldly
is.
logical decision.
Yeah.
It's not cold.
It's not emotional.
It
Yes,
is.
it
I
is.
think he would do better in a residential care setting than
I
in her
agree.
home. So it's not cold.
But it is a cold decision.
No, I'm saying that yes, exactly what Rachel said.
I
It's a
disagree.
cold. You're looking at an emotional situation
You're doing
with
the best
logic,
thing for him.
and you're
right.
and you're making a decision.
But
a
the
sound
emotional decision is to put him in the setting that he does best. Because the reality is that
No.
he's already behaving like this. He's going to likely be in a group home for life.
I'm talking about from the perspective of that person.
Right.
So I'm saying the emotional decision is actually you going like, I just got to do the right thing and keep them together.
It's
and
not
blah,
the
blah,
right
blah.
thing. But that's the
No, I know that.
I know
That's
it's
the
not the right
conversation
thing.
that I constantly
No.
to have with parents. It's not the right thing.
No, it's
I'm
not the
agreeing
right
with
thing.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm
But
just
it
saying
is the colder decision.
it's people who can make logical decisions
Yeah.
in emotional situations. That's
Right.
cold logic.
But here's why I disagree. I think the emotional decision is a selfish decision.
It is.
It's like
It's wrong.
It's because it's
Totally.
about you not wanting to see yourself as a bad person,
Yes.
Totally.
not
I
about their
agree.
needs.
That's fair. Yeah.
We're just disagreeing about what
I don't think it's cold. Yeah, that's
with
where I
about the
disagree.
term what the term cold decision
Yeah.
means really. That's
Because I
all.
also think like you like he's only 2 hours away. Like you, mom, and Lily could visit him every weekend if that's you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like if you really want to feel like you're responsible for this kid, you be responsible and make the right choice. Yeah. Why, Gabe? You want to read what you pulled up?
Yeah, I just put up a thing that said a cold decision in the context of decision making often refers to a choice made through careful logical analysis rather than emotional or impulsive reactions.
All right. Yeah, it's cold.
It's a delicent. Yep.
You're right. I was
Thank
thinking
you.
cold is heartless.
No, it's not.
You know what?
heartless.
I don't feel good having you admit that I was right in that one for some reason. I feel like I'm in danger now.
You just grinded it in. I'm gonna
Yeah.
plot on you. It's fine.
No, for real. I feel like I'm
No, I'm not. I had the choice in my head, like, do I commit even though I know I'm wrong just to fuck with him? How long should I fuck with him or should I just admit it? And I was like, we're already an hour in, I'll just admit it. It's cold, but I think it's the right choice for everybody.
totally agree.
And if your gut is saying something bad's happened to that kid, something bad's happening to that kid.
I feel like the best intentions have gotten me in more trouble than
It's
being
the savior
like that.
complex. Like
It is.
Mhm.
you would have to believe that there's something otherworldly about you, that you're going to do better than everybody else with this kid who has huge behavioral issues.
I believed that for a long time about myself. Yes.
Well, it doesn't work
about
out well.
everything, and it has not. Right.
Yes. Is there one more or is that our last one?
I don't have any more.
You see, I think that's the last one. But
I
let me
think it's the
look.
last one.
Yeah.
We did it. We did 5 in an hour. I feel proud of us,
That was
guys.
good.
We did it.
We went right through it. Lots of content. Lots
did
and
it.
lots and lots of content.
Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? It's the end of the weekend, but I still wanna turn up. Yeah, I still wanna turn up. All I want is to go again, but you ain't picking your phone up. Why you messing my head up?